January 9th, and we're going to learn about
I sneezed.
stuff. It's Thursday, January 9th. Let's see, we go to the library next week. Your first grade for me is going to be tomorrow, which is going to be the quiz.
You just got in.
You do get to use your notes, but we'll talk about that here in a moment too. And then inquiry project. Those of you guys who now had science today, and apparently no one died, so we'll take that as a win.
We didn't even
No,
go.
you guys. To help you get ready for quiz today, we're going to see what knowledge is still in your head. So you're going to take paper and turn it face down. We're going to go through and see how we can help you. If you can't think of answer, I will do my best to try to give you a hint. Worst case, you can be a wussy and flip it over if you need to check. And we'll try not to make too much fun of you. We'll see what we can do from there.
It's enough.
Good luck. Sorry, go.
Additional. Shut up.
Fatima, what is the type of fable that was the first one to be existent thousands of years ago?
Additional.
Nice one on Fatima. Fatima, I also introduced a scientific term to help us remember what it means. What is the scientific term that goes along with traditional?
My mouth
Is correct.
Oh.
Old-timey stuff from there.
So only times is crazy.
I know, you're close enough. I was trying not to judge you too much on that one. Callie, what was our second type of fable that changes how it's written?
First.
That's reverse fable is going to come in from there. Mana, how is a verse fable written that makes it different than the original one? It starts with a P.
Poem?
Is correct. And so it was written out as a poem with little rhymey lines that gets into it from there. And then let's see on that one. Oh, Adriana, let's go with what is the most recent type of fable that we have created and come up with? Modern fable. And that's done from there. Tanasha, what fancy scientific word did I come up with to help you remember what modern fable is? And that's where today comes in from there. Santa, if we come up with fables to try and make sure kids aren't going to be dumb, what is the thing that's in a fable that makes a kid not be dumb? Is correct. That's where the moral comes in. Marin, what is a moral? Like our definition of
Not hard.
it is a lesson learned. You know, like make sure you remember this information, or the moral could be when you raise your hand, the teacher doesn't call on you until your heart speaks to them, or any kind of invite, or don't give someone a dirty look from across the room because she's going to try and call you out. All of these could be morals that we're going to learn. Then we're going to find out there are 5 characteristics that make up fables. The first one, Owen, the most important thing every fable has to have to keep kids from being dumb is going to be and as a quick hint. So far, because I don't have a second period, that's my prep, so you guys are my 6th class I've had today. All 6 classes, every single kid has given the exact same answer, which is animals, which is the second most important thing, not the first most important thing. So, to go back to this one, Owen, there's something even more important than animals that's already up on the screen and has the same letter as your last name, which is why I called on you.
Okay.
What's your last name?
Oh my god! I see look up there.
Oh, I actually thank you.
Has to have a moral, that's what helps us
I ain't
learn.
that smart.
It's okay. Neither are the rest of the kids.
Hey!
I was trying to help all the kids who are talking out loud and having so many issues in here.
None of your business.
Yeah, totally. Let's see, from there we'll get a chance. Brian, let's go with, if we want kids to be able to pay attention to our story, what type of character should we have in there?
Animal.
Well, it's weird. It's like you can hear voices from all around the room because other kids struggle with paying attention. Even more ironic, since I just got done making fun of kids for being dumb and a kid yelled at me saying, "I'm not." And that's where we have animals are usually going to be our main characters that are going to be in there for that one. Zeke, how long should our fables be if we want? Nicely done. That's where the fables should be short of some kind. And then from that one, AJ, if we want kids to not be crying and sad because of the depressing
It's
fable.
gotta be like a happy.
There you go. It should be happy. Isabella, let's go with, what age should these fables be aimed at? At what age do people stop being dumb?
Never.
Never. So what age are they aimed at? All ages, because you're never too old to be a dum-dum. Which is why some of you guys now have a goal in life.
Mr. Brovicast, do you consider yourself very smart?
No. Just smarter than...
Excuse me!
So, sorry, I got distracted. Venti, it turns out there was one person who was the most famous person to create fables of all. And that most famous fable person was? It does start with an A. Good job. Which is why I called on you. It's just
Aesop.
is Aesop. Nice one
I
there.
remember that.
Gio, roughly when was it that Aesop was alive?
620,
That is frighteningly close. I would have also accepted a long time ago or Mr. Brovicast's childhood. But yeah, you got really close to it.
Once upon
Go you. Brittany, what continent was Aesop originally from when he was growing up? Good job. He was originally from Africa. But then he got to take a trip, Holden, and he got to go to a new country. Holden, what new country does he end up going to? He ends up going to Greece. Now, when he goes from Africa to Greece, Matthew, why does he choose to take this trip and leave Africa and go to Greece?
I don't know.
Well, I know, that's where we're going to help you out. Did he go and leave by choice? Did he leave by choice? Or did,
Repeat that.
Technically, he was me.
did he leave Africa by choice when he went to Greece?
He was enslaved.
That's what I'm looking for. The fact that he was sent as a slave to go from Africa all the way up to Greece from there. Natalie, it turns out he's so good at telling all of these stories that he worked his way up to telling stories to the most important person in all of Greece. And that was the king slash emperor, sometimes known as LeBron James. He was so good at telling these stories that the emperor gave him the thing that all slaves wanted, and that was there you go,
Proud to
free
be
parking.
American.
And so he was eventually free. With all of these stories that he was telling Fanta, did he make these stories himself?
Yeah.
No.
Neither nor me.
Yeah, she would never take any of your. Oh wait, never mind. Fanta, sorry, go ahead. There you said. Did he create these stories himself? No. Where did he get them from?
People told them to him.
So what do we call it when you steal other people's stories?
Plagiarism.
Right? Doesn't it make you so angry when it's your answer and other kids steal? Right? It's like rage-inducing. And so,
Be quiet.
and that's where the plagiarism comes in from there. And then finally, Fatima, what is it that causes poor Aesop to no longer be alive?
Die.
Yes. This was the first time. Never mind. We'll pick on Zeke. Zeke, what is it that causes poor Aesop to no longer be alive?
He dies.
He does. What causes him to die?
What causes him to die?
Did we get to the end of the story yesterday?
No.
Then I apologize, Zeke. That's on me.
Exactly.
And
Were you LeBron James charging points for saying that?
I just said no.
No, did he?
So then, oh,
Did he? No, did he?
where did we leave off in the story?
LeBron James. I don't know. Oh, but also the people were coming and telling answers.
So we got to the fact that Delphi was good fighters.
Yeah, and then he was he was there and he's giving them the gold
Giving
now.
them the gold,
Yeah.
and then who's going to go deliver the gold?
Yeah, Aesop.
Alright, but he has not shown up to deliver the gold.
Yes, he has.
He's shown up.
Yeah.
Did we get to the guys?
No.
No, we didn't get
Alright, there we
No, we
go.
just got as soon as he
No, we
got
didn't.
That's what's checking.
No, we got
Before
we got when he was
So-
getting gold, and then he got like
Okay, shut up.
Aesop then goes down to Delphi, and he has a little wagon that he brings along with him, and he has a big bag of gold he throws into the bag. And he goes down to the city-state of Delphi, shows up, and walks up to the whole town that's all gathered together. And he goes, "My name is Aesop, and I am here to tell stories." And they go, "Yay, Aesop!" And he goes, "And I have a bag of gold to give to all of you." And they go, "Yay, gold!" He goes, "Exactly. Now, for this to work, I need all of you guys to get into a line. I was given a list of names, not you guys, you're not Delphinians, good try. And then I'm going to have you step up, and I will give you your 5 pieces of gold. And then once all the gold is out, I will then tell stories." So everyone then gets up and comes together to get into a line. But before he can hand out the first part of the gold, a group of men step out of the line and walk up to him. And this group of men are big and scary, and they have scars on them, and they're carrying weapons. And as they walk up to him, they go, "We have a problem with what you're doing." And he goes, "You have a problem with me giving out the gold?" And they go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, what's the problem?" They go, "Well, we are all of the men who went out and did the fighting in the war. And we don't think it's fair that you're giving 5 pieces of gold to everyone in this town when we did all the work. We had to go out and do the stabbing and the killing and the dying, and it was scary, and Joey over here has 1 leg, and we think it's really only fair if we get 6 pieces of gold and everyone else gets 4 pieces of gold because you're really here for us." And Aesop goes, "Well, I mean, that's not how I was sent, but I guess if it makes sense." Before he can continue, a group of women step out of the line and they walk up. And as the women come up, there is some snapping involved. And he's like, "What's going on?" Like, "You are not giving those men 6 pieces of gold." He's like, "What is?" They go, "Listen, we are all of the girlfriends and wives and mothers who were left behind during this war. And you are not giving them more gold because look at that. That is a group of men, and they are a bunch of boys, and they like stabbing each other."
Yep.
And the boys go, "Yeah, we do like stabbing each other." And they go, "Joey over here lost his leg when he was 5 jumping off a cliff." Joey goes, "Yeah, I did." And they go, "Because of that, they don't get more gold. We do. We had to stay behind in this town. We had to spend all of our time raising all of these little rugrats. Look at these kids. We deserve to get 7 pieces of gold. Everyone else should get 3 because we kept the town together." And the men and the women start arguing. Before Aesop can continue, another group breaks out and comes up. He's like, "What is your issue?" And they go, "We don't agree with either of them because we're farmers." And Aesop goes, "Okay." And they go, "We had to give up our crops during the war so that they could eat while they were out fighting and so that their kids didn't starve. We didn't get paid for our crops and lost money on this whole thing. We deserve more of the gold. We should be getting 8. Everyone else should be getting 2. And both groups start yelling at each other back and forth. Aesop, all 3 groups. And Aesop goes, "All right, listen, how about you guys just agree that you all did something separate and different, but by working together, it was pretty amazing." And all 3 groups go, "No, who gets the gold?" And Aesop goes, "Okay, fine, let me demonstrate." He goes, "Let me help you." And he picks up the gold and he goes, "Follow me, I want to show you something." And he plops the gold down in his little wagon he brought with him, and he takes the wagon outside of town. Whole town follows him out. And he goes outside of town to this lake that is just outside of Delphi. And he goes walking up to the lake, and he has his little walking stick. And he goes, "Okay, I want to demonstrate something to you." And he picks up the bag of gold and goes, and then drops in his little rowboat, sits in the little rowboat, and is like, and he paddles out into the middle of the water. And he goes, "All right." And he stands up and he goes, "Can you guys hear me?" And the town goes, "We can hear you." And he goes, "Okay, allow me to help you guys learn. When you guys worked together, whether it was fighting, raising a family, giving up crops, you did something no one else in Greece achieved, to the point that the emperor sent gold to you guys he sent to no one else because of what you guys achieved. Do you understand that working together is your best solution?" And the whole town goes, "No, who gets the gold?" And he goes, "Okay, let me show you." And he picks up the gold. He goes, "Do you see the gold?" And they go, "Yes." He goes, "Do you see the water?" And they go, "Yeah, no." And he takes the gold. You just put it on my desk over there. And he takes the gold and goes, boom, and drops it straight into the lake. The whole town's like, "No." He goes, just wait. And he paddles back. And he gets out and walks up to the town. And he goes, "Now listen, when you guys work together, you achieved something amazing. But when you guys all fought each other, you lost it all. You have to realize working together solves your problems." The whole town looked at each other and went, "Oh, he's right. Let's work together." So they did, to kill him. And this was how Aesop died, was all the entire town of Delphi came together and lynched him and killed him on the edge of this lake. And that is how Aesop went out doing the thing he loves, teaching. This is how every teacher wants to die, being torn to pieces by their students.
Did he actually die by then? Don't worry.
That's how he
Yes,
does
because he's stupid. He should have just left the gold there and said, okay, you can fight over it. I don't care. Bye.
Yeah,
That's true. You could have just like.
Bro, you should have put it like good under like you guys
Okay.
Yeah. First person
He
to fight
should have
gets it all.
just.
If it helps, if you look around, half the kids don't even realize this is a note they have to have because it's getting ready to disappear.
Right.
Oh, because you want to turn it
Not tell
over.
us that.
I'm a good kid.
Good job, good kid. Now the problem is, Aesop is now dead and no longer with us. He also never wrote down his fables because he could not read and write very well. The people he told the stories to could not read and write. Yet, I have to this day books called Aesop's Fables. How is it that I can have books that are called Aesop's Fables if he never wrote them down and the people he told never wrote them down? Venti?
They got passed down from generation to generation.
And it turns out that was how these stories stayed alive, was because adults would still tell kids, hey, don't hit each other in the head with a rock because of the story of the rhinoceros and the squirrel. This passing down of stories is called oral tradition. Oral meaning to speak, tradition meaning to pass something down. Oral traditions were these stories that got passed down. Now, with this, it's great, but something happens to these stories, and it turns out there's a problem with oral tradition, as it does something to the fables over time. What happens to the fables?
They change.
Modernized.
They get changed, sometimes modernized, but you'll have multiple different versions of the same fable because some people will tell the stories in different ways, which is fine, but that's the changing that happens because of it. I'm going to show you an example here in a moment.
No.
Because you don't really need this, it just says the passing down of a story from generation to generation. I have faith in you figuring that part out. So looking in these two books of Aesop's Fables, where I have one book and other book, I looked up the same fable in each of the books. One book has a really short version, the other book had a much longer version. Plus, their morals are also slightly different. Plan for the days of necessity, or use your time wisely. This one said there's a time for work and a time for play, or don't procrastinate. Because of oral tradition, these are both considered Aesop's Fables. They're both considered official stories from Aesop, even though they're different. So just pay attention as we go through. Oral tradition changes these stories, and it makes them different, but it doesn't make them wrong in any way. The last thing we have, how long are fables supposed to be? Short. So with them being short, if you remember back when we did the the Mountain Story Mountain, what was the first part called? Exposition. Why does exposition exist?
To introduce them?
Introduces the boring beginning stuff. Because fables are so short, there is no exposition in fables. You go straight into rising action. But you still have to know what kind of characters you have. So we're going to introduce a thing called a motif, which works to introduce characters. A motif is when you have a common character that pops up in multiple different stories. Not like Harry Potter being in 7 different books, but it's where as soon as you see this character type, you automatically know what kind it is. Same thing happens in fairy tales. If you're reading a brand new fairy tale and it introduces a stepmother, what kind of character will she be?
Stepmother.
There you go. That is going to be a motif. Stepmothers are always evil anytime that you read a fairy tale. In a fairy tale, if they have a prince, how will he be?
Married.
No.
That's not what a prince is.
There you go. Charming, good-looking.
Oh,
Because in fairy tales, they're always supposed to be charming, good-looking. Same thing happens in fables, but with animals. The best way to think about it is animal stereotyping. At least that's what a kid told me. So, as an example, if we put an owl into our story, as soon as you see the owl, you know what kind of character he is. Because owls are always going to be
Wise.
there you go. So that's how it works. So owls are that smart, wise, or nerdy one. So here are all the examples. There are 50 examples. I'm not giving you 50 because you guys would freak out and die. I'm just going to pick like 15 of them to help you out. So I'm going to give you like 15 of the examples to try. I'll either give you the animal or I'm going to give you the character to see which one you can figure out. As an example.
You have to wear all of them?
Only you don't have to write anything down. Whatever you write down, you get to use on the quiz tomorrow. whatever you don't write
Let's
down.
write down like a couple.
Yeah, just write for me. We'll see what happens. Don't worry about it. So let's say I want to have
Write down
animal that is going to be a bully or is really mean or tough.
Dog.
Ooh, not a bad guess. Here's a hint.
A bear.
There's one I was getting ready to give. If you were a pig building a house,
A wolf.
wolves and bears both work. The third one, which always surprises me that kids don't get, this word comes from an animal.
A bull.
That's why you get the word bully, because bulls are known for pushing people around and being mean. So if you have a human that pushes people around and is mean, they actually called them like a bull, hence the word bully. So wolf, bull, bear. Cat goes back and forth. I put a cat up there because if it's the story of like the cat and the mouse, the cat's a bully. But if the story is like the elephant and the cat, I don't think the cat's going to be the bully. So cats can go back and forth. The sneaky, a thief,
A
or
snake.
tricky.
A raccoon.
Snakes don't pop up yet.
Raccoon.
Raccoon does. They have the little built-in mask. There's another one for those of you who grew up watching Dora.
Monkey.
Swiper, because Swiper follows the same thing. Now, Boots the monkey does also follow motif, just a different one. The last sneaky one is an animal that's not as common here in America, but is really common over in Europe.
Red.
Scorpion.
Here's my to help you. Imagine a snake, but shorter, covered in fur, with 4 legs.
Caterpillar.
Red
Or a
panda.
caterpillar?
Those are like 16 legs.
That is nothing like a snake.
Sure it is.
No.
They're long.
Yeah. So weasels are very common in Europe, and they use them because apparently they're super sneaky. If you've grown up watching either Disney movies, or if you've seen the one with all the animals that are
The Lion King.
which were like they're working in a town or a city, and it has like a little bunny rabbit that's the
Yeah,
main.
Zootopia.
Zootopia.
Hey,
I just said
Zootopia follows a lot of these same ones.
Zootopia's inappropriate.
I'm gonna stop. It's not. It's just on YouTube. I always want to.
There's an animal known for having a good memory.
Crow.
Elephant.
Not a bad guess.
Elephant.
But
An elephant never smokes.
even though it's again not actually true, but an elephant is the one that gets connected to good memory.
No, actually.
Most of these aren't really true. Even elephants, you can watch your YouTube videos.
Crows are actually like they.
Crows are super smart. They didn't know that back then, but yeah. Although they do put crows being smart in a couple fables I've seen. Yeah.
No, maybe they're dumb.
Brovicast monkey smart?
Yeah, you're supposed to be.
Wait, what?
Fast.
If we have a rabbit or a cheetah,
Fast.
there you go.
Oh, wrong
It's gonna be
side.
Fast or quick. I agree. Watch out. Now, the other direction, there's 3 animals, or 2 animals and an insect, that would qualify as slow.
A turtle.
Sloth, turtle,
Snail.
Caterpillar.
and snail. Nice.
Caterpillar.
Caterpillars are slow.
They surprisingly didn't put many caterpillars in these. Snails
he
I've
called
seen a
these
couple
slow.
times. The snails and turtles, I love the turtles and sloths. This next one, don't get yourself in trouble trying to yell out someone's name. This is going to be a farm animal.
I'm looking at it.
Uh-huh. Kid's all trying to get points right away. I know, it's like she has these extra points. What did I do? What did I do? Both of us have no idea what we did, and yet both of us know exactly what we did. So this particular
animal.
farm animal can be pushed over when it's sleeping.
A sheep?
Oh, a horse. Yeah, because.
Oh!
You should have just said.
Typically, cows would play the role of the W.
No, that's pig.
Or, actually, the pig plays another role.
I know a couple of W's here.
Oh, no.
Pig.
For those of you who have had parents come into your room and complain,
They call me a messy pig.
there
My mom calls me something.
there you go.
My mama.
That goes back to our motif.
Oh. Yeah.
This next one, again, is going to be a farm animal, but it seems to be one that most people don't connect
A
with.
sheep.
But there's one that's known for eating anything put in front of
A
it.
goat.
Well, nicely done.
Bah.
Five
goats.
big days.
Bah.
Goats are known to eat almost anything.
Michael Jordan.
That's like
If instead of goats, if you would rather write down either LeBron James or Patrick Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes is terrible. He should be out of the NFL. I don't think he'll see his face again. If he's ever in the NFL, if he wins this year, I'm gonna be so mad.
so you're gonna make your brother listen to this later?
No.
Good.
I will.
This one that doesn't really appear or apply to many people in this class.
What?
But there are going to be animals that don't make much noise.
No.
Giraffe? Me?
Did you say chinchilla? A deer, a mouse,
Mouses go.
a little baby cat.
Rat. Bro, they make the most noise. Rat.
Usually the kitten is more of the shy rather than the quiet. But I've seen it pop up. I've seen
Wait, so like
giraffe play it too.
they're shy when they stand right in front of your car?
Again, I'm not saying I'm just saying they don't make much noise when you hit them.
I saw the.
Oh, you have to go.
They're drinking tonight.
That's your choice. Then the last one, before you get in trouble saying a kid's name again, there is going to be a small dog and a bird.
Oh, parakeet.
No, yes. Parrot is the bird,
What did you say?
and then the small dog.
Hyena.
A chinchilla?
Well,
Chinchilla. Bulldog. Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Owen. Chihuahua. Chinchilla.
I definitely messed up Chihuahua. I spelled it with W. I spelled Chihuahua and then Chihuahua.
Old, not deaf. What's up?
Can I put louder?
Sure, that's fine. And then you can list every kid in here.
Yeah, okay.
That's not okay.
It's literally cheap.
So, for tomorrow's quiz, to help you out, you are more than welcome to use your notes. Here's our issue. We are now in second semester. I get to assume you've gotten smarter.
No.
Oh, I'm aware it's the wrong assumption. I'm just letting you know how it works. So, like tomorrow, just giving you a quiz where all the answers come from your notes would, one, be boring, and two, would not test how smart you are. So, tomorrow's quiz, you get to use the notes, but I'm not making sure you have them. What I'm going to do is say, give you a story that's called The Chihuahua and the Goat. And then what you have to do is say, using the motifs, what would this fable be about? So you have to be able to look back at your motifs, see what a chihuahua would do, see what a goat would do, and then figure out which of the stories would match it. So I want you to do a thinking thing, just like this will be on the quiz tomorrow. I'm going to give you a fable, and then you're going to have to tell me what type of fable it is, either traditional, verse, or modern, using examples in the fable. So on this one, you would say whether it's traditional, verse, or modern. Then you have to tell me what is the moral. So you're going to have to read it and then figure out what it is you're supposed to learn from it.
Stop.
I'm not trying to make tomorrow's quiz tough, but I am trying to make you do the thing you don't want to do, which is going to be thinking. I wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow. Oh, and if you ask me ahead of time, is tomorrow's quiz important? It's your only grade. Whatever you get tomorrow is your grade in my class.
It's not. You put in an A+.
I did for the homework side, but this is a quiz.